Gentleman from Iowa, Mr. King, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all the witnesses for your testimony. I'm sitting here thinking how things might have changed. I was a young entrepreneur in 1975 when I looked around, and I came home and I told my wife, "Today I'm a man," and she looked at me with that bored, "Well, what else is new?" Well, it actually was new because I had decided to take responsibility for our lives together. And a couple of months later, I managed to convince the banker to loan me 100% to buy an old beaten-up bulldozer. And the rest is, I guess, a long saga of ups and downs that today is a second-generation company that's, I think, very successful, at least by my standards. And a week ago Monday, the banker that loaned me that money and took a bit of risk to do so passed away, and we celebrated his life, how many of our lives he changed with that financing. And just through the things that enabled me to do, from a company that's spreading out and taking care of the third generation of my family, the politics that flowed from it, the career that flowed from it, my message to them was, there's a lot of us that had a wonderful life because of the one wonderful thing that he did. So when I listened to the difficulty in reaching financing, Ms. Duggart, and I did 1/3 of 1/3 is 1 out of 9. And so I want to ask you first, what are some of the reasons for turning down the finances on that? What are some of the barriers that are there? Are they different now than they were then?
Sorry, can you clarify turning down? You mean why?
Yeah, when
a
they're
bank?
denied financing, what are, I mean, I'm gonna say, here's some things I know, like you don't have a cash flow plan that works. You don't have any capital. We don't really measure that you have the character to come through, the judgment of those kind of things. Or what is that generally still the same reasons that were there 43 years ago when I began a business? Because I had a few that said no to me. I had to find a way to sell them. And so, and I think this Marine knows how to solve some of these problems too, but you can't let up. And so what I'm trying to get to is yes, we have a gig economy going on, and that's a result of a number of things, and you've described some of that, but the barriers seem to be the same to me. You have to have the instinct and the intuition to find a way to penetrate in, get your start. Maybe I'll swing over here to Ms. Kirby. You've done this. You've got this operation going on with about 16,000 square feet and lots of people churning around in there. Can you tell us a little more about day-to-day? I didn't get that out of your testimony. How'd this get built? What's it look like when you walk in there and you see this buzz of activity? Tell me how that all came together in your mind and how it looks today.
Well, I was working from home, and I was really isolated, so I was looking for opportunities to network. And I started a group called the Creative House of Lancaster back in 2007. And that was just a meetup, basically, of freelancers and creatives. And we started just getting together once a month, and we identified a need fairly quickly that we were all kind of working from home and isolated and needed that support. So what I did was I grew a community for 3 years before I opened up the co-working space. And that's something that we actually advocate for a lot of co-working spaces to do. It's not a if you build it, they will come kind of philosophy. If you can grow that community first, then you have the support that you need. We opened our doors in 2010 with 15 members, and we were completely sustainable because we asked those members to come to the table and actually help get the space open. That was when we first started in our first location, which was about 5,000 square feet, and we have grown to 2 locations and 16,000 square feet. Again, we just go back to our community. We say, hey, together we can actually, share space, share resources.
Did you have trouble with financing?
So it was really funded by the membership, and because I run my design and marketing company out of the candy factory, I actually don't pull any salary from the candy factory, so it's all reinvested into the growth of it.
Okay, I get it. You're a natural entrepreneur. You saw the need, you built your company, you saw the need, you built the community, and then the demand is what set this up then.
Right.
And I would say that to anybody out there is that don't grow to anticipated demand, but grow to that demand that exists so that you're satisfying your customers. Just as my clock ticks down, I just want to say that my observations are that there are some barriers that are greater than there used to be. And I believe one of them is the ACA because we have unaffordable health care. And the other one is Dodd-Frank and achieving finances. I talk to bankers consistently, and they say, I can't give those kind of loans anymore because I'm too tied down by too much heavy regulation. So I think some of these solutions are is open the door up so that a little more risk can be taken by the lenders, and they can take the risk with the borrowers. And another thing that if the chairman will indulge me on just a concluding statement here, is that I think that your generation, the youngest among you anyway, has lost something that used to be, and that is that young people, when I was a young man looking at these, we'd look around, we'd come up with an idea, and we'd say, well, there's no law against it. It meets our moral standards. Let's go do it. Now I hear, nobody's doing this. There must be a rule against it. I guess we have to get permission. If you think in terms of you have to get permission, it's a lot harder to be a successful and robust entrepreneur. So I appreciate the testimony here today, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back balance of my time.
I thank the gentleman.